Burgers is bringing this video, and now that I have a way to record and bring you guys streams and stuff like that, I've been streaming a lot. And since I've been streaming, a lot of people have been asking why I like singles so much, like how I play singles, stuff like that, any tips, any tricks for singles. So that's what this video is doing. Now I'm gonna be telling you about all the people, like the way they play, how to improve, how to predict people, and just all of that and everything about how to play singles. Now I suggest, if you haven't played singles yet, just go and play like a free ladder game. By the way, this is just a private match with no one in it, but just go into like a free ladder best of 3, play about 3 or 4 of those until you play about every map, and then get into one and dones. You'll play better kids than best of 3 kids, and when you play kids that are better, you're going to get better no matter if you're winning or losing. And I suggest watching a lot of theater and singles, just so over time it'll make it easier for you to like predict how people play, see how people play every map and stuff like that, like the spots that people go into, because singles kids are a lot different from free ladder kids and fours and whatever. So I suggest doing a lot of theater practice and free ladder. So once you get about 10 free ladder wins, then I'll suggest you go into just 120s, like $1.20, and then you'll start playing not like absolute tryhards, but you'll play like better kids than one and done kids. So I suggest that's probably like the best bet. And never play if you get down to $3. Like that's probably like the golden rule. Never play if you're on $3 in singles, because you can always play some absolute god for like $1, or like some absolute fucking retard for $1, and you never know. You can lose to anyone in singles, you can beat anyone in singles. Singles are just so random, but at the same time they take a lot more skill than anything else. So just get out of your mind that singles are all timing, because that's just going to make you play worse and just make you play like a pussy. So I suggest just don't think that they're all timing, because they're really not. They're more skill than anything, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm gonna show you just like pretty much how people play, and like how typical people play for like certain play styles. So usually what people will do is they'll start off the game, and I suggest you do this, but they'll start off the game, try and get as much map control as they can, and that'll also set the tone for the rest of the game. So if you can just get up top, like get up top mid, check mid, whatever. Usually, like, this is kind of a bad map for it, but like I say on infection, say on defense, what you should do is go out like graveyard, go like front church, like where that little truck is, and then watch like the A cross, mid A, like just keep watching that, because if you don't see anything by 15-20 seconds, they're either in B or they're hitting out B street. So like that's an example of, like, if you can get the map control, it'll make it that much easier for you to predict people and like see how they play and just all of that stuff. Now another thing is there's a lot of people that switch up their playstyle, or there's a lot of people that'll keep the same playstyle the whole game. Now I suggest you switch it up, and just to make it easier for you to, or make it harder for them to outsmart you and predict you, because when you do things like this exact same every time, it's gonna make it super easy to get predicted. So I suggest you usually start off with a class such as this. Yes, I named my classes, don't roast me. But usually a class like this, or a sub, whatever you prefer. Never use a sniper first round. And I honestly suggest using an AR with like an LCAR or an RK5 first round, just because singles, you have to be able to be versatile in singles. In gunfights at least. You can either shoot them at range with like an AR, or you can use them up close with an LCAR or whatever. I prefer the LCAR over the RK5 in singles and pretty much dubs, but that's just me. I just feel the LCAR is more consistent, and it's a joke gun, just like the RK5, but hey, whatever. So I suggest use a class such as this, and then what they'll do is they'll predict, they'll be like, oh well, he's not Flasher, he's not a nader, whatever, because there are people like that. And then they won't run tac mask. Most people won't run tac mask and flakjack at the first like beginning of the game, unless you're throwing stuns and shit. So once you get about halfway into the game, I suggest you start throwing flashbangs and nades and concussions, whatever you want or whatever you prefer. I think flashbangs are the best thing in singles. That's just me personally. Now, a lot of other people, what they'll do is they'll pull out a sniper or like a fucking LMG or a shotgun in the middle of the game, just to make you have to play around them. It'll surprise you, stuff like that. So what I suggest you do, like I said, switch it up. After 2 rounds of doing the same thing, switch it up. Never do something 3 rounds in a row, because that'll start making it easier. And then once they start predicting what you were doing like the second time, I suggest you do it the third, like do what you were doing first the third time. Like, I don't really know how to explain it to you, but anyway, so what you should do, I say, is always hit mid the first few rounds, and don't be one of those mid kids. Mid kids are like the most annoying, the easiest to predict, and just like the dumbest singles players. Don't be a mid kid, be more of a site player where you play the sites, flank, stuff like that. Now, you don't want to OE and like wrap and stuff like that, so like push through. You don't want to like push through there, push all the way around broken onto B. And if you do wrap all the way around, I suggest going all the way through B, through here, back to A. Like, just, I don't know, to get as much map control as you can. Because if you can wrap through there, they're either sitting in a corner mid or sitting in a corner probably broken or something like that. So if you're going to wrap, do like a full wrap around the entire map. Check all of your corners and singles. That's probably the best bet. A lot of kids play corners and singles. Those are the corner campers, right? So you either play the mid kids, the sight hitters or whatever, the rushers that just roam around the map, and all that kind of stuff. So like when you play against kids that sit in corners, literally check your corners, play slow as shit, and play around your opponent. Don't let them play around you, because that just makes it easier for them to predict you, and makes it easier for them if they're playing around you. So just keep that in mind when you're playing singles. Never let them play around you, play around them. So what you should always do, always switch up your playstyle. It's the best thing to do. Maybe a few rounds in corners, a few rounds hit shit, a few rounds hit mid, a few rounds go like all the way around. Like, just always change your playstyle in singles. Makes it that much harder for them to predict you and to predict what you're gonna do next. Now, never have a pattern or like a set, like round count, like playbook or some shit like that. Never do that, just because it'll make it that much easier, especially when you're playing chows and stuff. Kids will start predicting you, and they'll just know that you play like a certain way, especially in streams and stuff. So never have like a certain, oh shit, I just lagged. Never have like a certain pattern of the way you play. Now, what you should do is by the third round, you'll know how your opponent is playing, or like by like the fourth round. So like going into the fourth round, you'll know how they play. Just because if they switched it up on the defense, if they hit the same thing, like a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll hit shit on offense, run around, roam, and then these are the kids I call hitters. So they'll just roam all the way around the map, look for you, pretty much play the kill, which I don't suggest doing. I suggest getting the plant in singles, but singles planning is very scary. So they'll just roam around the map, try and look for the kill, whatever, get their streaks, get their specialists. So for later rounds, if it goes like 5-5, they'll have a heat wave and you won't, or whatever. I suggest heat wave or glitch for singles, by the way. Probably literally the only 2 specialists you should use. I'll actually throw in a clip like later on, like at the end of the video, that I did in singles where he heat waved me and I glitched out. It was a huge glitch play. It was filthy, and it was to win the game. So like I suggest heat wave or glitch, best things in singles. Now, the way you have to know how they're playing, or like what kind of kid they are. So like I said, by the 4th round, you'll know how they're playing, if they're like a camper or whatever. So the way you find out is if you're going through like getting map control, getting mid control, and you'll see like, so alright, so say I go up top broken, I'll go up here, I'll be like, okay, don't see anything mid. Then you immediately watch the A cross, see if anything pushed through A. If you don't see anything by like 15 seconds of either way, like right here, that means they're hitting out B. So instead of just hitting this wall run to B like most people would do, I suggest going all the way back, because then you'll be able to see if they're wrapping through, hitting the push, and then go all the way around. Don't hit this one, hit the outside on this, I suggest, and then going all the way out here, because when you hit that, they'll be able to hear you right on top, and they'll see your shadow if they're bottom green, whatever. Just try and get all the way to this outside like barrier, like concrete thing. I suggest getting on this. Now, like, you just have to think, how are they playing, and you have to learn how to play against them. So like, say if you're playing against a hitter, what you should do is literally just pre-aim mid. Like, if you're playing a hitter, most of the time what they're gonna do is they're gonna play mid, or usually on this map B for say, and you just have to stay like top here, right here, like constantly switch ways, watch A, whatever. Get as much map control as you can, just to make it a lot easier on you, a lot harder on them, and they have less places to be hiding from you. So usually if you're gonna play a hitter, they're not going to be hitting every round. They're gonna be switching it up. Sometimes, like after you predict that they're hitting it, they'll start sitting in corners like here. They'll be going in here and checking if you're on the generators out there, like whatever. So just always make sure that you're playing how you feel comfortable, but you can still predict them. So like say if they're hitting, I say like maybe hit up top green, watch the push, whatever. If they're hitting shit, just shoot them off that head glitch. You'll usually catch them running with their gun out. So by the time that you start predicting them hitting shit, they'll start playing like a camper or like one of those like corner kids. So usually what corner kids will do, and I'm just going on both sides of the map, just running around, but they'll start sitting in corners, like I said, like in here, like watching lines of sights with corners, stuff like that. They'll be sitting like right here, camping in this. And actually a good ass OP spot is going right here, because when you're right here, people don't get target assist on you, like when you're in this wood wall, and they'll shoot the wall, not you, like right there. If I had someone to, like a test dummy, it would be easier for me to show you, but like going right there, a lot of people do that in singles. So like try and hit out mid map, get into here, whatever. So I suggest you always play, I suggest playing like a hitter the first like 2 or 3 rounds, and then playing like a camper or like a bomb hitter. Now another thing is there's like people like roamers and hitters are like 2 different like play styles. Hitters, they just hit, like they just depth to one site, plant like rush planet, or they'll depth through like palace or like whatever. Usually I suggest playing more of a bomb site, like playing one side of the map on like offense, just to make it easier, smaller places for them to come from. Now if you sit on like island or like bricks, construction, whatever you want to call this, I call this bricks, but like usually if you can watch like right here and here, there's 2 places they can come from. If you plan on offense, oh shit, why am I lagging so bad? I'm on my host, man. But you just have to cut down as much of the map as you can to make it harder for them to come from like behind you or whatever. Now also, like I said, flashes, subs, always changing up the type of gun you're using, the type of class you're using. I suggest flashes. Actually, flashes are probably like the best thing to do in singles, just because you'll be able to sound horn if they put on tac mask, or you double flash them, whatever. So like I said, singles, they aren't that hard. You just have to learn how people are playing. So like if people are sitting in corners, start sitting in corners too. Play around them, make them come to you in singles. Don't go to them. Never rush around in singles. I don't suggest camping in corners all the time. Sometimes it'll work out, sometimes it'll fuck you over. Never like actually sitting in couches is like actually a pretty good thing, because you'll catch them either rotating through, or they'll probably push up top AC. So like usually sitting couches, it can work out for you, or like just sitting in corners like that. So I'm gonna show you guys just pretty much like all of the, like say, alright, so I'm gonna go off the rip like I'm on offense right here. So I'm gonna show you like a couple plays, like pretty much like a rundown of how someone will play, and then I'll put in like a stream highlight or like a stream clip of singles when I was streaming, and like showing you how I adapted to them and stuff like that. So usually what you'll do is, what I like to do off offense is I like to hit this wall run off the rip, and then try and like jump backwards to top AC, or like to front AC, because you'll be able to check bottom broken, push, you'll be able to check top broken, push the mid push, and as well as you'll be able to see out of your eye if they're pushing like up Palace Bridge, because a lot of people push up Palace Bridge. So just, I like hitting that wall run, try and jump up here if your movement is good enough. Just do that. Now if you don't see anything by the time you're like front, like top AC, then I suggest what you do is go through mid, and then try and get up top broken. Oh well, that didn't work out. Anyway, try and get up top broken, try and wrap all the way around like greenhouse. Like I said, hit this outside concrete area just in case you're sitting in a corner bottom green, and then check like all of your corners on construction. Don't really check this room, because if you check this room, like if you're wrapping through, you're probably going to get bad timing. So like usually what I'll do is I'll plant on this side, like on my side, like offense side, and then play defense side, or like vice versa, just to make them think that I'm on that side. Like if I'm sitting bottom green, or say like they're gonna push out green, they're gonna be like, oh, he's got an AR green. You just have to be cautious of what gun you're using and how to make them think like you're playing around your gun. Like for say, so like say if I were to plant it on this side, they would be like, oh, he's playing bottom green, back green, mid wall, and whatever. They won't think if I have an AR that I'm going to be playing like here, like watching this, maybe like sitting in the room or porta potties or whatever. They're not going to think I'm going to be sitting in here with like an LCAR and M8 or whatever. So usually I suggest doing that. Actually something pretty decently like good to use is right here. So then usually I say you just run around the map, constantly wrap, check the bomb. Most people won't ninja defuse. If people are going to be like, if people wait until they get the kill, or like wait until the last second to defuse, it's probably the best thing to do, to just hide in a corner if you know they're playing like that. But if you know they're gonna ninja defuse, like always watch the ninja defuse at the beginning of games, just because to set the tone of how you play on offense, just makes it so much easier. So always play the like around the site, or watch the bomb the first offensive round, just to make them think that you play like that. So SnD, like I said, it's literally all mind games, making them think you're doing something but you're really not, and stuff like that. So what you should do on like defense per se, if like this, like I said, this is going round for round, like round 1, round 2, whatever. So on defense, actually, if you know that they're like a rapper or like hitter, and like they like to wrap through and like push through sites, push through bottom broken, like push through mid to broken, this is actually like a good ass spot. So like what you do is you get, oh shit, oh well, that didn't work out, that's awkward. Fuck, dude, did they patch it? Like what's going on? What was that? It just flooded me off. I think they may have patched it, but hold on, I gotta check this, dude. I gotta check to see if this works. Of course, that's from the other side of the map, but anyway, just pretty much sit in the back of the base, watch the wraparound, and playing mid on defense is probably the best thing to do. Playing mid on offense, probably not, just because it makes it easier for you to die, get picked off, whatever. So I say play mid on defense, like not the whole time, but the most time, just to get as much map control as you can. Best thing to do. Now, I usually like to use the sub and the M8 class, pretty much the only thing I use. Alright, so you can still get on it. Okay, well, pretty much just sit back here and you can watch the wrap through A, wrap through broken, whatever. It's usually not going to push you off. I'm just dyslexic and it pushed me off because that's why. What the fuck? What the hell did I just auto mantle on? What was that? What? But anyway, just always be constantly switching up how you play, and just have to think about how they're playing. Like say if they're not planning at the beginning of the round, like say if they're just like waiting to plant, waiting until they see you to plant or whatever, they're usually a corner camper or a roamer. So when you're playing against a corner camper or a roamer, I say start sitting in corners. When you play against a hitter, start hitting shit. Like as weird as it sounds, because when you're hitting shit, it like they won't expect you to be hitting stuff as well. But when you're camping, when they're roaming around and camping in corners and shit like that, like usually the hitters, I say actually, usually if you're playing against a hitter, then start playing corners. If you're playing against a roamer, roam as well, just because if they're roaming, usually they're checking their corners. If they're hitting something, rush punting, like just sit in a corner like near sight or like in your base or something like that. I actually like doing this on defense, just to watch that for a quick second, and then I'll push through to A. So just always know how they're playing. If you're playing against like a camper, like I said, literally camping corners if you're playing a camper, unless it's on offense. If you're on offense and you're playing against a camper, play more like a roamer kind of play style. Like, I don't know, singles are very complex. It's all situational, and it's a lot more complex rather than timing than a lot of people think. And I really suggest you just play a lot of singles. Like some of the stuff you won't really like understand, and like you won't think about and stuff like that, but like it just won't comprehend to you until you start playing singles. And it's all about experience. You can only get better at singles the more you play it. I'm super good at singles. I've barely lost any singles games in this game, and people know me as like the 1v1 kid. Like in the community. Like, say if I'm playing wagers or something, I get into a 1v1, everyone's like, oh, you got this. If I'm in a 1v2 and I get one, I'm always like, yo, if I get one, I'm winning this, like, without a doubt, and I always do. Every time I'm in a 1v1, I always win it. 1v1s in dubs and fours and like whatever are a lot different than singles, just because like hitting mid, they have so much time to run around and stuff like that. Like they could be literally anywhere in like threes and fours and shit. But in singles, it's a lot easier in singles rather than like fours being in 1v1 situations. That's just how I feel. But you just always have to think about how they're playing their class, like how their teammates were playing, or just all of that. Singles isn't one of the things that you can just hop into and just dick around and win. You actually have to focus, see how they're playing, see if they're switching their playstyle, see if they're keeping it the same. Make sure you're always looking at their class, making sure they've got the same class, making sure if they have different classes, and playing around that. If you see that they have like just blast suppressor, fast hands, and dead silence, and just like a VMP, you have to expect double nades and a frag put on your attack and flat class, because you don't want to be just stranded. You just always have to look at the classes. Now, usually if you're playing against someone that likes to change up their playstyle, keep your playstyle the same. Like just play the exact same that you play the few rounds, because then they're going to start predicting you, and you have to think how they're going to predict you. So like say you're sitting top green every single round. Like say you sit top PC every single round. Eventually what they're going to start doing, hitting through sites, jumping like from Palace Bridge up there, jumping from the lower wall and up there, hitting out mid. Like if you hit top PC every time, it's just so much easier for them to come here. So you have to like almost fake them in a way. So like go up, peek up top AC, and then you just have to see if they're hitting something. If you don't see them hit straight down mid, immediately back up and like watch your back, because they're going to start hitting you. They're not going to just go play Mercy, play bombs, play the fuse, or play the plant or whatever. They're always going to play for the kill in singles when you're playing the exact same way. So hopefully you guys took something from this video, and it's like I did not really a shitty job of explaining, but it's going to be like really hard for you guys to understand what I mean if you're not like watching the streams. And usually in stream I'll be telling you guys about like how the kid's playing. So watching my streams is a huge thing to do, in my opinion. I'm not like self-promoting like at all, please don't take it that way. But what I mean is like in singles, like if you want to get better at singles, watch me, and I'll be explaining like in singles, like on stream and stuff, like how kids are playing, like how to adapt to the kids that are playing, like how to change your playstyle. So just please, if you want to get better at singles and this video didn't help you out like as much as you thought it would, make sure to check out my streams. I'll be streaming as soon as this video goes live, so make sure you check that out. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I'll be down in the description below, as well as Blxckyy. He's my homie. He's helping me out with the capture card and stuff like that. He's been helping me out with a shit ton of stuff. Can't thank him enough. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'm out. Peace.